Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through stacks of sources to bring you the essential insights. Today, we're diving into Bonita Payton's book, Leadership Isn't for Everyone, Unbreakable, Unapologetic, Unstoppable.
That's real. That's pretty impactful stuff.
Yeah, this isn't your standard corporate leadership manual. Payton wrote this, she says, for the ones who have scars, people who've led from the bottom, maybe managed chaos with no recognition. She was apparently just tired of watching great people walk away from leadership because, well, the system was never designed for them to thrive. So, our mission today, let's unpack her insights, the truth, the traps, and maybe the tools you need to rise anyway.
And that dedication right at the start, it really sets the tone, doesn't it? It's for those who led from the background, spoke up silently, carried teams without credit, walked into rooms not built for them, but still made an impact. And especially those building power brick by brick while battling burnout, bias, and broken systems. It's very clear what kind of leadership we're talking about here.
Absolutely, it speaks volumes. Okay, so let's get into it. How does she start challenging things? Well, the title itself is a challenge, right? Leadership isn't for everyone. That flies directly in the face of what a lot of companies preach.
It really does.
Yeah.
She's crystal clear. Everyone can be valuable, but, and this is the kicker, not everyone should be in charge of people. She argues that corporations often promote based on comfort, seniority, or who talks the most.
Yeah.
Which leads, she says, to low morale, high turnover. Real leadership for her is about capacity, stamina, and the weight you're willing to carry when everything falls apart.
Capacity and stamina, not just ambition or time served.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, what are companies missing when they select leaders?
And she breaks that down even more, like, just because someone's been there the longest doesn't mean they should lead. Simple but true. Just because someone is liked doesn't mean they can handle conflict. That's a big one. Just because someone has ambition doesn't mean they have vision. She really pushes back on the idea that you can just train leadership into someone.
Right. If they don't have the fundamental wiring, the will, or the work ethic, as she puts it.
It's a strong stance. So if it's not for everyone and it's not about the title, what is real leadership to her? She introduces this concept, the Bonita standard. And her declaration, I don't lead for likes, I lead to leave a legacy.
Yeah, and that standard isn't about standing on a podium. It's about being in the trenches. She talks about using data, empathy, and unshakable integrity, gathering facts, actually learning the tasks before you assign them.
Knowing your team's stories.
Exactly. Their stress, their brilliance, their breaking points, even putting her own job on the line to protect theirs.
Wow.
And standing up to senior execs to shield the team. It's leadership as service, as accountability. Fixing broken systems.
She uses this amazing analogy like jumping in the ocean with them when things get tough, swimming alongside, directing, pulling them back. Because, as she says, you cannot lead people you refuse to serve.
You can tell it comes from experience. Like managing that burnt-out, divided team she mentions. The fancy title meant nothing because no title can fix dysfunction. It was a baptism by fire.
Right. Teaching her that leadership ain't a title. It's a test of character, consistency, and courage. Powerful stuff. Okay, so if leadership is that demanding, stretching you, testing you, breaking your pride, even triggering trauma, Bonita says you need tools. Tools to stay human. And this is where it gets really practical, I think. She offers 10 tools that built me.
Yeah, and these aren't, software or apps. They're habits, mindsets, ways to stay grounded, human, whole, and honest. Like the mirror check, regularly asking yourself, did I lead with fear or faith? Did I react or respond? Would I follow me right now?
Oof, that last one. Brutal honesty required there.
Totally. Then there's the no-cap journal. No cap meaning no lie, right? So a totally private space for the raw stuff.
Like wanting to quit, dealing with microaggressions, the wins nobody sees.
Exactly. And strategic silence. The power in just observing, documenting, not jumping in immediately, gaining time, data, leverage.
That's interesting. Counterintuitive, maybe.
And building my personal board of directors. Not cheerleaders, she stresses, but truth tellers. People who check you, remind you of your vision.
Pull you out of survival mode. We all need those people.
Absolutely. And the what's mine checklist, asking, is this mine to fix, to carry, to own?
Or is it just covering for leadership gaps higher up? That's key for avoiding burnout.
Which leads right into boundaries built from burnout. She talks about those insane 15, 16-hour days.
Yeah, being the only woman, only Black person, feeling that pressure to push harder, wearing burnout like a badge.
Until her dog, Honey the Labradoodle, basically taught her to be present. Put the laptop down at 6 p.m.
Dogs know.
It wasn't rebellion, she says, but reverence for the life I almost forgot how to live.
Wow. These tools feel less like management techniques and more like, well, like lifelines, especially that what's mine checklist. That feels like a crucial survival skill.
It really does. And it all comes back to her core message about these tools.
Niches.
You're not leading just to get a title. You're leading so someone else can survive under your leadership and still want to lead themselves someday.
That really reframes the purpose, doesn't it? It's about impact on others long term, which ties into her next point about personality. She flat out says, you cannot outlead your personality. That most leadership training fails because it tries to clone a culture, not understand individuals.
Right. So how does understanding personality actually help you lead better? She brings up tools like the Big Five Ocean.
Openness, conscientiousness.
Extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism.
Yeah.
She notes leaders high in conscientiousness and emotional control tend to do well. But it's also about understanding your team. If someone's highly open but maybe less conscientious, how do you manage that specific person?
Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. She mentions MBTI helping her understand her own need for space to think and plan, and how to lead people who maybe don't need that detailed roadmap.
And then she dives into the color personality model, red, yellow, blue, green, which is a pretty accessible framework. Reds are bold, driven, but under pressure can bulldoze.
Yellows, fun, fast, people
Yeah.
to people, but stress might distract or avoid the tough stuff.
Blues, empathetic, loyal, pressure hits. They might take it personally, withdraw.
And greens,
Mm.
analytical, logical, stressed, overthinking, or maybe becoming emotionally detached.
It paints a clear picture. But the real insight is her Bonita breakdown of this.
Yeah, this is key. Most leaders operate from their dominant color, but under stress, they double down on it. That's where leadership goes sideways.
So under pressure, strengths become weaknesses if unchecked.
Precisely. Reds without empathy become tyrants. Yellows without accountability become liabilities. Blues without boundaries burn out. Greens without action stall progress. The point isn't the label, it's self-awareness.
Use them to catch your blind spots before your team does. Ouch, but necessary.
Definitely.
And this all feeds into her idea of what real leadership looks like. It's not static, it has to fit the moment.
Right. She talks about different models, transformational, transactional, servant leadership.
Her favorite being situational leadership.
Yeah, because it's about adapting.
Yeah.
Adjusting your style based on the team member and the situation without losing your core values.
So reading the room and the report, leading with heart and metrics.
And crucially, she says, stop copying other leaders. Learn to lead as you, authentically.
Okay, leading as yourself, but there are still some core skills needed, right? She outlines key leadership competencies that actually matter. What are the non-negotiables for her?
She boils it down to 5 really crucial ones. First, emotional intelligence, EQ. Big one. Knowing how you come across, reading the room, correcting without shaming. Basically, not projecting your own unhealed junk onto your team.
Essential. What's next?
Second, communication. For real.
Yeah.
Not just talking, but clear direction, constructive feedback, actual conversations, leading good meetings, listening.
Listening without interrupting, that's a skill.
For sure, delivering truth without shrinking or exploiting. Third is decision-making under fire.
Yeah, the pressure cooker moments.
Timing, clarity, owning the decision, knowing when to pause versus act, taking responsibility, even if it gets messy. Fourth, problem solving. That doesn't depend on a fire drill. Being proactive, seeing issues coming, building systems, spotting patterns, not just reacting.
And the fifth.
Strategic thinking, seeing the bigger picture, how today's decisions impact tomorrow. Planning, but also being able to pivot.
Those feel solid, not just buzzwords.
Right, and she adds a bonus. Consistency.
Why consistency?
I says, consistency is safety. And when your people feel safe, they perform. It's about being predictable in your character and your approach, owning your blind spots.
So it makes sense, safety through consistency. Okay, this leads perfectly into how companies choose leaders, or how they often get it wrong. Her observation is sharp. Most companies aren't selecting leaders, they're recycling comfort.
Ouch, yeah. Picking who they like, who's loyal to them, who they know, who won't rack the boat.
So how should they do it strategically?
Her advice, choose people who can lead humans, not just projects. Evaluate them under pressure, maybe using real conflict scenarios.
Not just hypotheticals.
Right, and measure actual behaviors, not just resumes or buzzwords. She learned this the hard way, often getting jobs only when the ship was halfway sunk.
Those corporate triage situations.
Exactly. but she turned them into transformation zones. It proves who can lead when things are actually tough.
She also talks about loyalty. Says employees aren't loyal to jobs, but to leaders.
And true leaders earn that loyalty by protecting their people, especially when it's uncomfortable.
Saying we for success, me for failure. Keeping their word.
And the warning signs of poor leadership: seeking control over connection, being silent on the real issues, high turnover, prioritizing their image over their people.
Her advice for hiring is gold. Ask their team, not just their references. You want to know if people would follow them again by choice.
That's the real test, isn't it? Would they choose you again? It's a high bar.
It is. Okay, so Bonita doesn't pull any punches about bad leadership. She talks about when leaders lose the room. What are those red flags?
Things like the leader talking way more than listening. She says that signals disengagement, not agreement from the team. People tiptoeing around them, managing them like a landmine, high transfer requests, talented people just going silent.
Because they're busy polishing their resumes?
Pretty much. They're planning their exit, and she gets really direct. You might be the problem if you treat feedback like betrayal.
Oof. Or you coach with sarcasm instead of strategy.
Or you defend your tone instead of owning your impact. It really forces self-reflection.
But she offers a way back, right, to re-enter the room you've lost.
Yeah, it requires humility, though. Own it. Out loud. Stop managing. Start listening. Really listening. No hidden agenda.
Apologize properly. No PR spin. Like, I was wrong. That caused harm.
Exactly. And then fix the system, not just the optics. It's about genuine change, not just saving face.
Okay, tough truths about leaders. But then she hits us with another hard reality. When the math ain't mathin'. The loyalty and layoffs chapter.
Yeah, this is the gut punch truth, as she calls it. You can be great and still disposable in corporate America.
Because often, profit people.
Right. So she warns against leading like you're safe, overworking, overcommitting, thinking that buys you job security.
Because it often doesn't.
Nope. Instead, lead with wisdom, not worship. Have boundaries. Have a backup plan. Keep receipts. CYA, she says, is still a full-time job.
CYA, cover your assets. Yeah, still relevant.
And have a clear sense of who you are outside that title. She pushes for a CEO mindset, no matter your role.
Meaning?
Don't tie your self-worth to your salary. Don't let the title define you. Stay ready to pivot. It's about reclaiming your own agency.
That feels crucial, which leads to her point that the exit isn't always the end. Quitting isn't failure.
Absolutely not. She says quitting means you finally saw the game for what it is. Sometimes walking away is wisdom. Sometimes it's survival.
No job is worth your peace. No paycheck is worth your health. And no title is worth your soul. Powerful reminders.
And if you do leave, she says, exit, like a CEO.
How do you do that?
Document everything. Update your resume. Your LinkedIn focus on measurable impact. Have a transfer plan ready on your terms. Alert your inner circle, your personal board. Preserve your peace document. Don't just react emotionally.
And her last point on exiting.
Remind yourself who TF you are. Don't let the situation diminish you. Own your narrative.
Love that. Okay, wrapping things up, she brings it all together with courage. Building on do it afraid to this final message. Unbreakable, unapologetic, unstoppable.
Yeah, she tackles fear directly, acknowledges it'll show up, whisper doubts like, you sure you belong here? But her truth is, confidence doesn't come first. Courage does. Confidence is built in the doing.
By showing up even when your voice shakes.
Exactly. When your hands sweat, you act despite the fear. She suggests tools like visualizing success, leaning on your truth tellers, relying on rituals over fleeting motivation.
So leadership, ultimately, it's demanding. She calls it a burden and a privilege.
And if you're doing it right, it will cost you something.
Yeah.
Maybe popularity, maybe sleep, maybe even your job. But it won't cost your soul, your dignity, your ability to sleep at night. That's the line.
That gritty line.
Yeah. And her final call to action is really stirring. If you have that leadership instinct, that blend of logic, empathy, vision, grit, don't bury it. Especially not under systems that weren't built for you anyway. Use it.
Use it how?
To build real teams, not just cults of personality. To coach people into purpose, not just productivity. To disrupt those broken leadership patterns.
Because
the world isn't short on bosses. It's starving for real leadership.
Wow. And her final charge to you, the listener. You will be underestimated. You will be talked about. You'll be told you're too loud, too direct, too passionate, too much. Be too much anyway. Okay, what a deep dive into Bonita Payton's Leadership Isn't for Everyone. We've gone from challenging who gets to lead to practical tools, understanding personality, navigating tough realities. It really feels like a call to lead with real integrity and a solid sense of self.
Definitely. And connecting it to the bigger picture, it's all about legacy, isn't it? Not just titles, but leaving people better off because you were their leader, building systems where people can be authentic, holding the door open, knowing your worth beyond the job description.
So think about everything we've discussed, that unbreakable, unapologetic, unstoppable message.
Yeah.
What's one tangible thing you, listening now, will take away? If leadership is for you, what's one step you'll take today to really lead like people's futures depend on you? Something to think about.